Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the RHAP B&B for week 5 of Survivor 47. My name is Mike Bloom, but today, in the spirit of the Survivor Social Hour, which I'll say real ones know that the RHAP B&B was the true OG Survivor Social Hour, right, Liana Boraas?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Come on. When we have more condiments, okay?
Yeah, exactly. We may not have cornhole, but we have corny jokes. And we have holes. Peter Harkey once told us that. So here we are. But we decided take that B and double it, baby. Because we've got a B and B and B and B happening in this podcast. Let me welcome in these two fine gentlemen as we wrap up the pre-merge of Survivor 47. These are two standout guys from the pre-merge of Survivor 45. I call them the brand winners. First up, it's Brandon Donlon. Brandon, how are you?
Oh my God. What an intro. I am great. You know, I've been on a lot of podcasts this week. I was at the Rob is a Podcast live show. People think it's because I'm just, so inspired by Annika. I want to talk about her game. It's not. I got a new haircut. I'm doing every avenue possible to show people that I got one. And I'm thrilled to be here now. I should be on YX Lost in about an hour and a half. You can check that out as well.
All right, Brandon is making the talk show circuit, basically. A lot of people like to promote things, not like come on to just be like, here's my new look. I just want to show it off on as many talk shows as possible, but he is not alone. Making his B&B debut is Brando Meyer.
Hello. I'm also here actually to promote Brandon Donlon's new haircut. It looks fantastic. I mean, look at the guy. He looks beautiful. And, who would want to miss a Fifth Boot episode? So I'm very, very happy to be here.
Mm-hmm. This is the solid PR team we need. Don't worry, Brandon. We're going to get your hair out there, okay?
There we go. Branding for these two men. Brando, I mean, obviously you got to commemorate another Fifth Boot here. Were you triggered a little bit by the whole, not a swap mechanism, considering the weird things that happened with yours last season or two seasons ago?
Being the only swap in the new era is a little triggering for sure to see what went down, but I really liked the twist this week. So as much as it is a little bit of a pain, I am very happy to see that they're going in a new direction. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, obviously this was one of the big takeaways was the brand new twist, never before seen on Survivor, and it turns out to be a bit of a mixer, a bit of like a soft mergatory, perhaps, and maybe some details on what comes next, perhaps because of the event that we had. Of course, 3 of us got the chance to watch this in a big theater as well, which I think really amped up the energy. So, Brando, I'm glad to hear that, separate of that, because sometimes in the room, even if things don't fly necessarily for people on the couch, in the room, you just get infused with the energy. But I'm glad to hear you were, in the social hour. Liana, what about you?
Well, I think it's interesting because I was under the assumption that, we're going to get to Earn the Merge next week. So this felt like a very bizarre thing to do. Although from what we've seen from some of the previews, that might not be the case, where actually we are going into the merge. I think. I don't know, Mike, you might not have a better sense, but I love the fact that this twist gave us some semblance of what the social interactions might look like once we do merge. And if we're not going to have that in another capacity, then I'm happy that we got it here.
Yeah. Brandon, what do you think about implementing this? Is this something they should move forward with in lieu maybe of the specific facet of mergatory of, okay, half of you are going to be immune and go off for a merge feast?
Well, regarding the Survivor Social Hour, I think back to Survivor Guatemala, where Danny had a birthday party, a little bit before the merge, and they just got the two tribes together to hang out. There was no challenge component. It was just a weird, random thing that Survivor hadn't done before, I think, since either. I'd rather see that than have 6 go and have 6 not go, just because, even if we're not merging right now, the dynamics that can happen to just a couple hours together, and then you have to go into the tribal cycle again for 1-2 more rounds. I think that lends itself to more interesting play than just having the 6 and 6, because whatever the mechanism is with 6 and 6, we have seen it before. So I like that, or 7 and 7 rather, I guess, with Annika's position. But I like a new thing, and this was a new thing that was super fun. But I think there's further optimization on a new thing that we just on the old thing that can make it a little bit more fun.
I think there is something weird about the idea that you can go and sort of start your merge journey, but then you still have to go back to your original tribe. And we saw this pay off with Tiana and Gabe, where Tiana starts to do, the thing you do in merge, where you're willing to give up a member of your tribe to show that, hey, I want to move forward and work with other people. I'm not just, Tuku strong. But then you have to go back to just Gabe. And then you have to potentially go to tribal council. Now, ultimately, it didn't see it happen, but that could be a huge detriment to your game. So it's almost presented as, hey, here's an opportunity to forge bonds, but don't screw it up, because if you do end up going back to tribal council, this could really mess with your game.
Yeah, I mean, you could even argue, at least Annika did to me, that this was something that also potentially led to her blind side, is because, like, when they do a little bit of, like, the catch-ups, and they're like, oh, yeah, Sam, you and Sierra are a thing, right? It's like, wow. What did Annika say about us at the journey? And even though, at least from our perspective, it was more so that they were presenting the information rather than her, I could certainly see them take it as a sign of like, oh, if she did not go to bat to deny any of these allegations that we were close, then that means that maybe she's not looking out for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do think that, if you do have, I think back to also, not to just keep referencing old seasons, but I think to like Thailand also, where they pair off one person from each tribe during the fake merge, where they think they're getting insight from each other. If you do have more people here and you're in smaller groups, it does lend itself well for maybe a position that would have saved Annika also. If Annika's in one group, outing Sam and Sierra for their thing, but in every other group, everybody's keeping it quiet. I mean, granted, that doesn't work well for Annika, or vice versa. Everybody's keeping it very loud and Annika's the one keeping it quiet. You see a couple different variations happen. So I think either way, it was super fun. Regarding the Survivor Social Hour, I do think, having to like win and then go get your dry hot dog and then play another challenge via cornhole. The last thing that I would want if I won a reward challenge is another game that I have to not just sit around and eat. But hey, they liked it. They seemed to really take to cornhole. I love cornhole at a brewery, at a restaurant. I don't need it when I won something I just did the challenge. Come on.
Right. That's the thing. It's like, hey, I need calories in my body and I don't want to expend them until the next time that I have to. Don't make me even get up and walk and throw these beanbags around. I mean, I kudos to them for committing. Like the art direction on the banner, stay magnifique.
I feel like I'm in Myrtle Beach. It's really giving, it's giving the Myrtle Beach motif, which is, when you're on Survivor in Fiji, the only place you want to be is Myrtle Beach. You want to close your eyes and just transport yourself back to that nice place. So I love it. I think it's fantastic.
I was expecting the Ron John Surf Shop to show up as well. I love the generic soda labels, but the cornhole was an interesting choice because you say, oh, a lack of food. Corn, hole, bean, bags. It's very food themed. Okay.
Should they? I know that Rob said on the live show that they should have cut open the beanbags to find advantages. I say, cut open the beanbags, pocket the beans.
Yes. What did we learn from Rachel? And there's no Jeff there to stop you.
But how old do we think those beans are? Right? Because those have probably been sitting in the art department for months. They're getting rained on. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it's not newly made like the banner. These are the beanbags that they probably have used in every challenge since moving to Fiji, nearly 10 years old.
Yeah.
JP Hilsebeck was flinging those.
Yeah, exactly.
12 seasons ago.
Smells like him.
Yeah.
They're about to start sprouting.
Oh my God. Well, what we saw sprout over the course of this episode was a good old-fashioned blindside, but a reaction for the ages. I mean, again, Brando, fellow fifth boot, you're nearly at Mergatory. You feel like you just have to make it through the next stage of the game. Could you put yourself in Annika's footsteps as she stood there and didn't make any footsteps, just gawking at what was happening?
It's absolutely brutal. I loved how long of a pause, almost no music that they gave us. I think was it over a minute? I went back to check it before this podcast. But it was a long time where she was just standing there, and it's the raw feeling of almost being there. And, I'm sure with the 2-tribe challenge, she thought that she had made it at least a little bit further than she did. It's hard to have that taken away when you're not expecting it, for sure. So I'm not surprised by her raw reaction.
As somebody who does, love Survivor history, I do think this is a very interesting example of a blindside. You see the Kelly blindside, and the Kelly blindside is shot like a murder mystery where it's out of nowhere, right, to everybody. And you see the Michaela Bradshaw blindside that is not that. It's a surprise, and then she has an explosive reaction. So I think that we haven't seen something that's like this in quite some time. Although Annika, wasn't that big of a surprise. Just with weeks past, you either think it's Andy or it's Annika. I mean, that's what the show is setting up for. But I can't remember an example that is just so, one person is super, super blindsided, and then everybody else around her is has clues. Even the audience, we have clues that it's going to be her or Andy, right? And even leading up to tribal council, you see Andy wheeling and dealing, and you're like, oh no, this might be Annika. And then when it happens, it is a really, really interesting vantage point that we don't often get with the Survivor blindside. It's not often that it's just solely one person that's blindsided. And especially not having that huge of a reaction. I must say too, not that, I noticed the challenges. I watched the challenges, finely toothed comb, just after having been there. But, Annika, aced the puzzle in every challenge that they had. Annika sat out of the challenge. Puzzle's not completed in time. So I wonder, it's a thought. It's a thought that, she was the squeaky wheel that, or she was the really good wheel. She wasn't the squeaky wheel. She was you wouldn't believe how little this wheel squeaked with Annika.
I know.
That she would have been in there.
Really well oiled.
She's a really well.
Well, that's the problem is that they needed Andy to saw. And that's really the sliding doors universe where if Annika is able to dry hump the saw, maybe they win the challenge.
Yeah. No other industry is like this, is it? No other television show do you get to throw lines like that out there. And I admire that. Yeah, Andy's doing incredible PR for people who are bad at challenges. People are all in on Andy, and we needed that. Our industry needed that very bad. So shout out to Andy for helping us out a bit. He's helping our SEO dramatically, I think, at the moment.
I mean, I'm intrigued to see, will he be able to both make a deep enough run of the game to have multiple iconic instances of this where he could eclipse Crystal Cox as one of the most noticeable bad challenge performers, because she was able to benefit from the fact that she made it to the penultimate episode. And so we got to see multiple instances of it. With Andy, this was obviously the most flagrant and comical example, I would say, of it. But now with him making it to the Mercury, and at least for me, looking at his edit, stands to probably make a pretty deep cut into the game. There is so much more potential to see what exactly this man is going to do in your most favorite iconic Survivor challenges.
I like to live in a world where he could just be hustling us right now, right? I was talking to Austin during the last episode, and he was saying if he was playing cornhole, he'd be sandbagging, right? He'd be throwing way to the left, way to the right. You don't want people to think that you're good at those challenges. What if Andy is a sleeper agent, right? He's going to unlock his mic from season 30, blow through all of the individual immunity challenges.
Set the record most wins for individual immunity is I would absolutely love that. But the other thing too to keep in mind is that the group challenges, the team challenges are all about moving, whereas the individual immunity challenges are all about not moving. And maybe that will work out in his favor because he just has to balance his stand there instead of saw a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but then someone's going to ask Andy when they're bored, how are you doing? And then he's going to go into another monologue and lose his concentration.
That's where the sleeper agent comes in, Mike.
That's true. Jeff has to say the very specific phrase, with the idols, to unlock that agent cell with him, and then he just goes full Terminator.
Exactly. Which, granted, the phrase last time was just, how are you? So I can imagine that the phrase is going to be super complicated. He's not going to pick up on it. When we were at the live show the other day, I was sitting in front of Tiffany Seeley, who raised the question when we were all, chattering about Rome really boning that puzzle, only had the one piece. And the chatter online is, did Rome throw it? And Tiffany said, and I'm taking her quote, but it applies to your boy also, is when I was bad at the challenge, nobody assumed that I threw it. You know what I mean? You have to throw it, I guess, so bad. You have to be so bad at it that people think that you throw it. Tiffany on the balance beam could have been a throw. I wasn't. I really, it's crazy how badly I wanted to not be in this position. But, I think it's an interesting point where, Rome is so, one, 4 pieces looks infinitely better and less throwy than one piece. But listen, he didn't throw it. He claims he didn't throw it.
I just don't know why he would at that point. Usually we see people throw it when they feel like they have a lockdown on the numbers, and maybe Rome was very cocksure about where he was, but the tribes are already even. It just seems like for me, it makes more sense from a narrative perspective, like that this is a guy who claims he can do everything, that insists of being put at the end of every challenge and just like absolutely face plants. Because again, I will say, like, Rome would let you know if he threw the challenge. He would let everybody know. He would stand on that mat as soon as the challenge finished, and Jeff would say, Rome, how are you? He's like, well, I'm feeling pretty good after I threw the challenge. So, like, if anything, he would want to almost lie about it, to be like, no, I wasn't that bad on the puzzle. I actually threw it. He's actually doing the opposite here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, then we get another Genevieve comment about Rome's been very naughty, which I know we didn't spend a lot of time with Lavo in this episode, but it was really fun to see some of the blowout, and especially the consequences of losing the split reward challenge was also very interesting, because there's a reaction from Rome that obviously a lot of them didn't expect to happen, as Teeny is the only one who gets to go on the reward. So that was also very cool to see that being set up. I mean, ultimately we don't see the payoff in this episode, but I assume that this is going to come back at some point later.
Yeah.
Definitely. I would imagine that's the case. I mean, we are in for an incredibly messy individual game, you know, between the journeys and now this thing last time. We have some bonds that are being made. So this is what I alluded to ahead of time. I will just say that this is going to be a little bit of speculation about next episode. If you don't want to prefer to remain in the dark, not a shot in the dark, tune out for the next like 2 minutes or so. But basically, what the scuttlebutt has been online from sort of parsing out what promos have been doing is that it seems like we're doing individual immunity. It's back up for grabs. And so I think Jeff even says in one promo, like, 1 will be safe, 12 will not. So it looks like now we may get some sort of like team phase of a challenge. It might be sort of like the Survivor 43 or 45 challenge, where like you run it in 2 teams and then whichever team wins moves on to the next stage. But whether or not they're quote unquote earning the merge, we're at least not going to only allow half of the group to be vulnerable, which I think Brando will be very interesting, because I think a lot of these people that would otherwise be protected from like happening to get thrown into the right group are suddenly out in the open now.
Right. No, I agree 100%. We love when they mix it up, right? People have talked about how the new era with no like themes, just the season numbers gets kind of repetitive. And so I'm very curious to see what they have in store for Earn the Merge, quote unquote, this time.
Well, that's the other thing, is that having everybody as an option is just so much more fun, because we write the fan fictions in our heads about, well, what's going to happen when everybody comes together. And you want to be able to see the full realm of possibilities play out, and to immediately say, okay, well, half of you are off the table. We're going, hopefully, again, I'm hoping that this is the case, is that it is just one person who's safe, then everybody else is on the table, which I think is going to make the scramble just so much more fun. I mean, talk about eggs. We got a scramble coming up, baby.
Oh, man. Do you think they're going to bring the eggs to the merge beach? Those eggs will keep, right?
Okay, well, they will never get their flint back, right? Assuming that, so like they'll have to, because otherwise what do? They just have a bunch of raw eggs. They either eat the raw eggs before they go.
They throw them at people they don't like.
Oh,
could they egg tribal council?
Should have brought them to tribal.
It is mischief night after all.
I think so. Like, honestly, if I had an inkling that I was going, I would put some eggs in my pocket. And if I were getting voted out, I would just start hucking eggs at people.
Oh.
Or you pull a Sabaya, you take them to tribal, you crack them on the fire in the middle.
Cook them up while you're all
make a nice
talking.
omelet while everyone's yapping.
Can you eat a raw egg? Can you just? Oh, I know Rocky Balboa did it. I think.
Yeah.
I think the issue is the eggshell. I think you're fine with the actual. This is not medical advice. I'm not a nutritionist. I think the inside of the egg is okay, is it not?
Well, I think the issue is like salmonella poisoning, right? So, or food poisoning in some capacity. And I would imagine that the actual egg could be, but the shell is probably more likely to be covered in bacteria. So if that would be the cause. So,
right.
But I mean, it's a little bit of bacteria.
The salmonella, that's, Big Egg is trying to keep you from salmonella, or trying, throwing salmonella at you.
Well, I think Lavo's suffering from salmonella.
Whoa.
No, I was going to count how many puns Brando did, and you beat him to number 1.
There have been a handful of puns already. a basket worth if you. No, that didn't work.
Basket worth of puns.
That didn't work.
We can cut it. We'll
What
just-
what do we think
Cut
about
that in post.
the deal here? Was like some people are saying
Oh.
Jeff was too soft. Some were saying like, oh, that was too low of a number to go for. Was either side the loser here?
Well, just a quick clarification question before we talk about logistics. Did Jeff say that the eggs will hatch chickens? I
He did say
swear
hatch,
he said
but I
that.
don't think he meant hatch. But he
Okay.
did definitely say hatch.
Okay, I don't think he meant that either because I'm pretty sure those are unfertilized and those are not going to become chickens. Okay, great. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Richard
Brando,
on the
you go
mind.
ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good.
Don't we all?
I was gonna say I thought it was a really interesting move to swap the chickens for the eggs long term, right? Because if you're on a tribe who won this reward, you're not planning on eating the chickens. You're kind of screwing over. Let's say you get voted out right when the merge starts, right? You now have this resource that the other tribes can't take advantage of that you earned. So I think that was a really interesting move. I don't know if that's what they intended to do, but as far as like the longevity of the reward, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Like, this is the first instance, I think, that we have specifically themed reward trades. Like, we saw in San Juan del Sur, it was, hey, we want to trade in our extra flint for fishing gear. This was specifically, hey, we want the second place prize instead of the first place prize, which was linked to eggs. It's just such, and also given the life cycle of a chicken as well, felt, I don't know, very philosophical.
Did I miss in Exit Press who or what was keeping the Gotta Tribe from killing the chicken? I don't know who that was. I know Annika, I think I saw a clip of her saying that she would have liked to have killed the chicken.
I think it was probably Sierra. I mean, listen,
Sierra?
Sierra was holding a lot of power, and she's like, no, I went to a winery with a chicken once. Please, I have an emotional attachment to it. I can't drink Merlot again if you kill one of these things.
I do think, I mean, it obviously, like, I would not kill a chicken. I'm in on the chicken being killed. I do not want to physically, I would Marley and me the chicken if that was an option where we could euthanize it or something. You know, we can have nice music playing. I don't want to just like do it. That takes a strong will. James Clement, if you have James Clement there, he can kill the chicken. But I do think that 18 eggs does seem high. It seems like it you know, maybe like, I mean, and again, I want all my friends to have food, and these people are fantastic. But like one in six, like 6 eggs, like 1 egg for each person. I don't know. But 18, I guess. I mean, Jeff put out the math of 18 makes sense, but I'm not. You know, that's his prerogative.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if they did it calorie based. It was okay. Well, this is the equivalent in calories to a chicken is 6 eggs. So you get an equal amount of calories. I'm more questioning why they felt the need to stick to eggs as what they were going to barter.
That's what I'm
with.
saying. Yeah, like
get a
right?
sandwich.
You don't need to go back.
Yeah, something you don't have to cook. Maybe.
Exactly. Yes. Oh my God, that's so great. Yeah, exactly. Instead of an eggs, we get an egg salad sandwich. You know, so something that you can sort of immediately consume. Especially you have an inkling that like you're going to end up merging soon. So I would imagine, okay, let's get something resources for us that we can consume quickly.
Yeah, so that's what I'm intrigued by as well, especially if they are going to bring eggs to the next stage, which is like, yes, it is Gada's eggs, but are we going to be dealing with like, for lack of a better term, egg ticket of like people starting to take eggs and eat them from other tribes? And could that cause some skirmishes?
Like a Sandra-esque, somebody eats all the eggs, blames it on somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to edit that. Rome's going to eat all the eggs, and then who's Rome going to blame it on? It's 1,000. Rome is immediately going for the eggs.
Yes.
There's no scenario where it's not Rome going for the eggs. I'm curious of who he says, or he might not even say anybody else took the egg. He might just say, "Hey, we're all together."
One thing's for sure, they're going to scramble.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
There we go.
That's
It
what
will
I'm
not.
saying.
It will not go over easy. Certainly not. But I could see like if I'm Rome, I would say like I'm not going to eat all the eggs at once. Maybe like bury them like a sea turtle.
Like a sea turtle. They're gonna hatch and then the chickens are gonna crawl into the ocean.
Well, hope not.
Oh wait, who was it? Was it what season was it where they found the turtles?
That was
41?
41. Yeah, the
Yes.
Yasa little sea turtles
Aw.
represented them.
That was so cute.
Speaking of the sea.
Maybe they should have asked for sea turtle eggs.
Oh my god.
Oh
Oh,
God.
that would have felt so.
There's a scene in the Adam Sandler movie Big Daddy where Adam Sandler is bringing the child to go trick or treat, and the guy doesn't have anything, and he like shushes them away. So Adam Sandler breaks into the house and is like, "What do you have? Like, give us what you need." And the guy's putting CDs in the bag. I think he takes off his watch. That's what the shakedown should have been for the Gotta Tribe. Is like, we're gonna give you this, but like, what else is here? What else is it within a 15-foot radius from where you're standing that we can just, we'll take anything.
Well, I think the negotiation, you have to start. Okay, obviously, I understand. You start high. Okay, no expert negotiation, but like you start high. But if you start too high, does Jeff just laugh you out the door? Right. So if they had gone for, oh, we want, a new car and blah, 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 blah. Right. And Jeff's just going to be like, get out of here. Or something. I don't know what Jeff would do.
Jeff, can we get a truck? Can we bring back?
So that way we could just like take the car to the immunity challenge or use the car in the immunity challenge.
Oh, well, yeah, I've talked about this previously about like what would happen if a car was a contestant. There's no rules against it.
You've talked about that previously?
I have. I talked about
like a Cars universe.
Yeah, in Survivor South Africa, they edited their car sponsor into like shots from the show. And so I thought, what would happen if a car was a contestant? I think there are benefits and drawbacks to it.
I can picture the car in a medical situation and Dr. Joe just running over with like a big red tank of gas and like have to put it in really quick.
Because the car was too exhausted.
Oh, Liana, we're sucking at the punch. Although you had the first scramble, so I think I'm sucking at the punch.
Would Dr. Joe have to,
I ran out of gas already. It's fine.
Would Dr. Joe have to wear like a mechanic's jumpsuit and come in and just be like, all right, well, didn't expect I'd be doing this. Here we go.
Well, you know what? With all the folks that have been on Survivor, 700 plus, and they used to, dress more to like what you do in everyday life. No mechanic jumpsuits. You'd think we'd have a mechanic jumpsuit by now. We've got nothing.
Yes. More jumpsuits.
More jumpsuits.
Any
kind of jumpsuit.
Would you want to wear a jumpsuit on the
I was going to say, because if your top half or your bottom half gets wet, then you lose everything, right? If it's all connected.
So do you make it a two-piece? Do you immediately like take the hatchet to it and cut it into two pieces?
Also, the breakaway pants have never made an appearance.
Yes, the zip-off cargos.
Yes.
Also,
what's that?
We've had people cut off their pants. Have we had zip-off cargos?
I don't think zip-off cargos.
I think the only one I could think of, yes, it was Chad, right? Because wasn't that Chad's big reveal in Vanuatu? Was he had the little like zip-off pants and he zipped off the bottom half of his pants to reveal he was an amputee?
That he did. He said, "You guys think I made it here pretty good, right?" And everybody was like, "Yeah, you did." And then, boom, reveal.
But imagine if he had tearaway pants. Imagine that reveal. I mean,
yeah, not enough of that.
That's what they should have negotiated for. Who needs food? You can get tearaway pants.
Honestly, they should negotiate for like clothes.
Jeff, can I have your shoes?
Yeah.
Jeff, can I have your shoes? Hats, sunglasses. I would die for a pair of sunglasses out there.
I mean, you never know until you ask. I also was thinking, could they have bartered with the other tribes? Could they have been like, hey, you give us, how many eggs have you eaten? Can we have them if we give you a chicken?
Yeah. Can we take Saul if possible? Can we give these chickens?
How many chickens is Saul worth?
Well, you're trading food for another mouth to feed, so it's kind of balanced.
Right? I think it works.
It's true.
Oh, no.
It's true. I would take Saul. If I had my pick from anybody from the other tribes, I would take Saul.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. He's like reasonable, calm, strong. I mean, you definitely would want him.
He says
on
fart when things go wrong.
Solid, yeah. Lights up like the sun. It's
the
beautiful.
fart was interesting. In the new era, a big fart era for Survivor. There's been a couple fart scenes in the new era. I mean, I don't know if we call Saul saying fart a fart scene, but Danny famously farts in that one challenge. I don't know about famously doing a lot of heavy work in the sentence, but he does.
He does for you, I guess. Yeah. You remember that?
Not me.
Other people are talking about it, not me.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah, Brandon doesn't have a spreadsheet full of every fart.
I'm just
fart moment.
I have to close a tab. Hold on one second.
Well, I wonder if like maybe Saul's a relatively new guy to the show. Maybe he like very much lowballs the age rating for Survivor. So he's like, I can't swear on the show, so let me come up with all of these other curses.
Yeah, that's a good. Listen, you get camera time. You throw a fart out there, you get camera time. Shout out Danny for 50.
But shout out to Andy. Speaking of the like intense moments, Andy's voting confessional. I mean, Mike, you've talked about voting confessionals before, and This was one, I think I've been burying you for the past 10 days. Here's your headstone or something like that. It was such good television. It was amazing. I don't know where this Andy has been, but this I mean, he's obviously been a focus for a lot of the episodes, but this really felt like a breakout in a different direction for him because we see him talking about, this is my fake plan. I put this fake plan in place. And then to end everything with that final headstone moment, I really, really enjoyed from him. It was almost like he just got this second life out there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's maybe because the action on Gata has not really been focused on like this Andy Annika rivalry. I mean, I guess like, even though Andy does vote out John, he was brought in on John's last minute plan to vote out Annika. So I guess it like has been something, but yeah, it was a little like Steve Moses Becky from Big Brother 17, and that like Andy comes in and be like, I hate her guts. I need to see her head roll. It's like, where did this come from, dude?
I would have loved if he gave that voting confessional and then got voted out himself, and they still showed it. I think that would have been really good TV. I wish they would have shown mine. I held up my Drew frowny face, and I said, "Looks like you drew the short end of the stick."
Oh, come on!
Well, they should have aired it anyway.
Yeah, great.
So that's the thing. Like, you gotta leave money on the table. You have 90 minutes. Like, show those voting confessionals.
Yeah, Annika changed the game for folks who didn't have a vote after holding up the thing. Because I mean, I had no vote and I walked up to the thing. I saw it and then I just talked to the camera, much as like I'm doing now. Mm-hmm. But actually holding it, I think that's how you get that on TV, is holding up the thing that says you can't vote. I regretted not looking for the pen because I would have liked to have just. I never got to use the pen. I would have liked to have just.
Dude, the pen was so cool.
Yeah, the pen.
That was really cool.
It's a cool pen.
It's interesting because like there's also a bit of a meta evolution too. Because I was there for the first tribal council of 39, where Elizabeth Basil did not have a vote. And she had to physically write down no vote on her piece of paper. There was no placard that said like, yep, it's disregarded. She had to legitimately write it down so that like, I don't know. I don't remember if Jeff pulled out something that said no vote or if it's just like, oh yeah, I forgot. I guess we have to throw it away. But it was such an odd thing compared to the relatively railroaded way they do things now.
And there's something to be said for like taking time in the voting booth. Because I remember that I went up there. I said to I was like, mom and dad didn't go great. I love you. See ya. And then I walked out. But there is something to be said for like staying there for like a couple extra minutes. They're not going to tell you to go down, and then everybody else who's voting thinks that you may have something. Even if they've already all voted, it is nice to like scare them for a couple minutes. I think that's funny to go out the door, like having them worry if you had something, at least for the 20 minutes it takes until you're voted out.
Could you just be up there working on your Type 5? You're like, look, I'm going to take advantage of this. All right. I have a camera fixed on me, baby. We're going through my jokes.
Yeah. I could have done all the second booths up there. I don't know why.
Or that's when you just smear your eggs all over the voting booth. So the next person that has to come up is like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's a new evolution. Is like, obviously this isn't allowed, but like for conjecture, is writing something somewhere else. Like you can do like graffiti on the table or something.
Yes.
Nobody's doing graffiti on the table.
Oh, that's amazing. I really love that idea. I also, to go back to the eggs, can you actually take supplies with you? Because we see people obviously get voted out with idols or clothes or whatever. But could you just like take the fishing gear and just like hold it while you're sitting there and then be like, if you guys vote me out, like I'm taking the fishing gear with me?
I think you could take whatever you wanted. I don't think they would stop you.
Okay, beautiful.
I wasn't there, but I do know that when Sabaya was voted out, she did have a machete in her bag. And then there was a Angelina-esque moment asking for the machete back. And I don't recall, I've heard this story now many times. I should know this, but I think that she gave it back. I don't remember, or she might've walked out with it and then they got another one, but that is something that has happened.
That's what you do with the eggs.
That's what you do with the eggs.
Yeah, so well, I think that's the thing is like, then do you have to relegate somebody to like watch over the fishing gear so it doesn't get taken by somebody else? Because it is a good question of like, Big Wendy took the flint and sat on the flint. What's to say that you can't do that with any other thing at camp as long as it's not personal property?
Oh, that's why Jeff takes the flint, so you can't steal it.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it was like a punishment, but it was actually a benefit. It was like, I mean, sorry for you, but also like, sorry for you.
He's doing loss prevention like they have it.
Yeah.
He's at the door. I'll take
if you walk out with the flint, a dye bag explodes in your face.
They're gonna put those things on every side of the path that you walk out of tribal council.
That's really what that arch is when you walk out of tribal council, just one big security scanner.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, people, and I'm gonna pivot hard, but people talk badly about the abandoned season 41 idea with Rick Devens working like the store. You know, that was supposed to be a thing of Rick Devens works the store with advantages and stuff. I think that's the coolest thing in the world, and I hope that it's if Rick Devens himself is not on eventual season 50, I hope the store is there. If they're taking applications, I would like to potentially work at the store. I do think that, you know, you could build in so many fun little like Easter egg mechanics, like the little buzzer things when you walk out when you're stealing. I think there's so much opportunity to make the Survivor store. And listen, if you're listening to this and you hate this idea and they end up doing it, don't tag me. I don't want to hear about it. Tag Brando. He's here. Tag anybody else. You know,
I mean, I would love if they like staffed the Survivor shop of a bunch of alumni to just be there. Like it's an actual convenience store like the Sanctuary that you go to habitually.
They would make me be like the overwhelmed stock boy who's like putting in cans and I'm fucking sweating. You know, I can really picture that. That's it. Brandon, what would you do in the store? What would be?
They'd have me doing math in the background. I'm sure.
You're balancing the books.
Yeah, I'm balancing the books. I'm taking
like,
inventory.
not now,
Jeff.
sir. I'm adding up.
Jeff, if you're giving away 18 eggs, you're putting us in the red.
I pull out like an abacus and I start like.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
my
great.
God, that's funny.
I think
What's that?
I think it would be fun. I mean, listen, like they've already gone above and beyond doing like the printouts of the banner. I think they could aesthetically decorate an entire convenience store to set up at some part of the island.
Yeah. What would the name be? Is there a good name that I feel like I'm floating on?
Like the Jeffy Mart or something?
Jeffy Mart.
Jeffy Mart. I like the Jeffy Mart.
Jeffy Mart's good. Maybe that's it. Meeting adjourned. We
did it. We can all go home.
All right. Well, let us get into our usual thoroughfare here on the B&B, and let us go back to the woman of the hour and a half. Let's talk about Annika here, because Annika, it was a big 5 episodes, I would say, that ended with a big finish. Liana, you and I have been in lockstep this entire time. You and I have both thought that Survivor 47 would go a very particular way. Yeah. See if we can make it 5 for 5. How did you think that Annika was going to do preseason?
Yeah, this one was brutal for me in terms of the predictions. I had her making the finale. So this puts a really big wrinkle into everything. So this might be the place where we deviate. I said that despite being a project manager, Annika plays a solid under-the-radar game after a rocky start of losing her vote at the first journey of the season, which takes away any agency she has pre-jury. She forms tight bonds with Sam and come the merge Teeny. However, her once close alliance falls apart when Teeny convinces Annika to betray Sam, citing him as a massive individual immunity beast. With Sam on the jury, he counterclaims all of Annika's moves in the final tribal council. As a result, she only receives 1 vote to win. Her ally and her enemy were both Sam. So there's a universe where this happens. Maybe.
Interesting. So you had her then come, not to like pronunciate too much, but you had her losing, but was she like was it like a 6-1-1 vote in the end or 5-2-1?
I don't remember, but she got, I'd have to go back and look at my other predictions, but she got 1 vote. And I also specified specifically it was from Sue. So, you know, not that counts.
All right, there we go. Okay, well, to your point, Liana, this is where I leave you. And this is where I left Annika. In the pre-jury, I said that true to her own preseason prediction, any intention that Annika had to not take charge goes out the window. She almost immediately steps up to get Gotta Good. With John immediately gravitating to the Gotta Gals, they quickly form a majority alliance, and her eyes are set on Sam, who she never quite trusted from all of his Ponderosa journalings. Annika is sent off on a journey and unfortunately loses her vote. She comes back and tells the truth to her tribe, but John begins to get paranoid after seeing her behavior after her return. As a result, the men and Sierra turn on Annika and Rachel, and we get to see Annika's self-proclaimed expressiveness in the wake of her blind side. And I said her closest ally would be Rachel, and her enemies would be John and Sam.
So she was the first boot from Gotta for you.
She was, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, it's a little bit of a done deal. Not exactly a competition here. I like that we both had her losing her vote. I guess we just felt like, yep, she's gonna lose her vote.
I don't know
there.
why. I mean, to be fair, like Brandon could speak to this. Like the vast majority of time, you do lose your vote when you go on a journey. So
You do. You know, people complaining about the game of chance. I had to do it. Like I would have loved the game of chance would have been better for you, boy. I do think regarding Annika, you know, Annika has every skill to like do really well and to win Survivor. And it just, you know, as our, you know, they don't cast people who they think will lose or go out, you know, in a specific fashion. Like they cast everybody with the intent to win, and they cast some people with the not hope to win by any means, but they cast everybody with the intent to win. They cast 5 or 6 people knowing they could very well win. And Annika is one of those people. Annika is one of those people in any season that she's on. And sometimes those people go far, sometimes they win, and sometimes they're out around where she's out. But it's a testament to her. I mean, Jeff said it on the On Fire podcast. You know, she has, you know, every skill and more to be able to really deliver at Survivor. And, you know, this time it didn't work out. But in a world where they do like a all pre-jury season or a, you know, Return of the Outcast in South Africa had half pre-jury, half everybody else, like she could really in another world make a big run at this thing. And this is a loss for all of us because, you know, I read all the online chatter. People really enjoyed her confessionals, as well as just seeing her navigate the game. So it's a loss, and you know, the season's going to be great, but I do think that, you know, we're gonna miss this one for sure.
yeah, I think I loved the personality that she brought. I think she very much, not to say like she surprised me in that I thought she'd be a particular way, but like I loved how much she was herself from the beginning, whether it was also like her tension with Sam, whether it was her saying that Andy was giving toxic, clingy boyfriend, like it was, and of course with that exit, like I think she was a very fun personality. Brando, is there a chance that like all of you Bay Area pre-mergers can just do an LRG one day because there's so many of you accumulating?
And we're all Asian for some reason, which is crazy. We should, yeah. I'll try to get that going. That'd be a lot of fun. The Asian pre-merge, Bay Area, California LRG.
My winner pick is Jessica Chong. I want to see Jessica Chong to Survivor again so bad. I think it'll be so much better.
Yeah, I think she'll be very well rested by comparison. I think it'll be okay.
I'm hoping for it. But yeah, you know, it's a good group. And this pre-jury so far, not to talk poorly or in any way about any other pre-jury, but this is like you're getting like whether it's blindside after blindside, whatever, but you're also getting, you know, people in another world that can do super well. So I do think that's the same amongst most seasons, but this one in particular, I think you're getting a really talented pre-merge.
This one's it's top 7 for me for sure.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask about that because I put out there. Oh yeah, of course, thanks, Brando. That very abacus of you. That I thought that this might be the best pre-merge of the new era. I would put this up against, for me, 42. I really enjoyed 45 as well. I certainly made my opinions known at the moment that like I don't really care necessarily about quits. It doesn't ruin my enjoyment of the show that much. But I think for me, to your point, there's just so much contained in here. There is some wild gameplay. We have gotten some pretty interesting power shifts over the course of only 5 votes. It helps that everyone has gone to tribal council at least once. There are a couple things like, you know, the journey where Annika was basically forced to give up her vote wasn't great. The summit was like, the social hour was fine. But I think, you know, we're continuing on from this trend of 46 of just like pure mess and conflict. And that's very exciting to see. And it also being supported with some very interesting gameplay made for a very, very solid pre-merge, in my opinion. And I personally think the best we've seen since the show came back.
I'm not exactly sure in my rankings where it would go. I'd really have to think about it. But one of the takeaways that I've had from this season so far is I'm really invested in every single tribe. And I don't know if that's a consequence of that we've seen it spread out, right? The first 3 tribal councils, 3 different tribes went. We, of course, saw Lavo go back and gotta go back. But it was just nice to have that spread out a little bit more. So maybe it's the editors are having to spend more time actually building storylines on each tribe because everybody does go to tribal. So maybe it's something along those lines. But there isn't a tribe where I'm like, okay, I don't really care if they go to tribal. Every single tribe, I'm like, I care if they go to tribal. I want to know what happens.
Yeah, certainly. I think too that having each, you know, tribe go to tribal council lets you, I mean, stating the obvious here, but you get to have a personal relationship with each person. Whereas like just contrasting with 45, I do think that we spent so much time with my team that it's like you lose, you know, the relationships that you have with people on the other 2 tribes in Survivor 45, they're the folks that end up going far or have a super, you know, fun or exciting run, as opposed to this one where it kind of just feels wide open, because not that the edit in 45 was not equal, but I mean, sure. But also I think that here it feels very much like an even playing field. Whereas the folks that got voted out of Survivor 47 feel completed in a weird way. Like you feel like satisfied each time because you're spending so much time with them, as opposed to maybe, it's 1, 2, 3 from the same tribe and then, other tribes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like even Brando, like you had your sort of like flash in, I think it was episode 2 with being in the middle, but then like you kind of fade into the background for those other two. And it does feel like, people sort of dip out. We talked about Genevieve, obviously, like really coming to the forefront last episode, but this does feel like one of those seasons where we have both a handle on who each person is, as well as seemingly what their standing is in the game as well, which is, again, like a perfect formula.
I'm really intrigued by all of the Caroline content we got at the social hour, because I feel like we're getting a lot of both cross-tribe and her like interpersonal relationship with Sue. And so I'm curious to see how that's going to go, since they've only been to tribal, the one time.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see why they're putting so much time into that sort of position specifically.
Well, and I also, to add on top of that, we go back to Tuku, and then the story is really about Sue, Gabe, Tiana. So why is Caroline being sort of, I don't want to say like pigeonholed in there, but it feels like, okay, but we're getting this from Caroline's perspective about her saying, I'm the mother hen, I'm trying to corral, which is funny given the fact that they gave up the chickens. Mrs. Peppers could never. So she's like trying to corral the rest of Tuku. She's like, oh, I'm the one who needs to get Tiana to apologize. I'm the one who wants us to all move forward together. So there does feel like a lot from her perspective, which is very interesting to me, which says, okay, something's going to happen, obviously, in Merge. There's a reason why we're being shown this. So is it just have to do with the Tuku dynamics, or because, as Brando mentioned, we're seeing other relationships from the other tribes? Okay, is she the orchestrator? Is she going to be the one to really, again, corral the chickens and bring everybody together maybe for the first vote? That intrigues me and actually gives me something interesting about Caroline, which we hadn't seen a ton of before. Yeah. So there is something interesting for each person that I'm very curious to see what happens moving forward.
Yeah, well, especially because also now we've had a couple of opportunities for cross-tribal stuff, and it seems like someone like Caroline did take the bait and was like, hey, let's work on something. Also helps that Rachel is like, well, my closest ally just got voted out, and I was left out of the vote by my tribe. Hello, let's all work together. So as much as Caroline, I think, is going to try to push like, hey, 5 is a plurality, let's move forward together, I think this will luckily open up some very fun, exciting greener pastures where we might be dealing more with like, okay, here are all these, duos and trios just working together, mishmash, as opposed to, okay, this is a big chunk that's going to work together a la the Reba 4 for a long time and then eventually split apart when, the chips are down.
Yeah, totally.
Caroline is my winner pick.
Oh.
And again, maybe this is in my head because I want it to be true so bad, but like, if you look at the scenes of the Tuku tribe, like strategizing, Caroline is like always around. She's always like present in the scene, whether she's in the conversation or not, she's there. And I think I had said this a couple weeks ago, but like in a season of like really big personalities, like they're highlighting how big Rome's personality is, how big, John's was, how big Andy's was, whatever. I think that a really fun editing thing is to like the person who maybe on paper, I don't even want to say has the smallest personality, but maybe just in comparison to everybody else feels a little bit more muted. Like that's the person who's always in the background making the decision that needs to be made. Caroline had the line when she was at the social hour that said like, I'm not playing cornhole, I'm playing Survivor. Like I'm not going to take a break. It's a good line. It's a really good line.
It's a great line.
And I think that, I'm on if there was a name for like the Caroline train, the Caroline caravan, something.
Ooh, I like that.
Something. The Caroline caravan.
Caroline carriage. The
Caroline carriage. I am driving it. That was me doing the thing that people do to horses. If I'm in the front car. It's not whipping. Don't worry.
Yeah. No.
Okay. See ya. Don't worry.
The bridal.
Yeah. I know you were on the fence about that money from me. See ya. Don't worry. You can still retroactively write the check if you're interested.
Bring it back.
We'll see about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think it's time for us to get into our activity of the day. And we are going to be doing something very special, very near and dear to my heart. When the two of you were going to come on the B&B, I knew what I had to do. and that is a choose your own adventure. So we are going to be playing a choose your own adventure story. It is a tradition on the B&B that you must come up with a character, a name, a description, motivation. I believe last time we did this was the premiere of 45. And
Right.
what was the name of your clown character, Mike? You and Kevin Jacobs came up with some clown character.
Was it a clown or was it
Biggles? The clown?
Biggles the
maybe?
clown? Oh yeah, it was a clown, but he talked with like a very husky voice.
Okay, that I don't remember. I don't remember
So
all the
I'm trying to
details.
remember,
But
because like we've done
regardless,
this a few times. There was one that I think I was a calendar model in. Then there was the clown.
Yeah.
I think the clown was last time.
yeah,
That was also the one where we drowned in one of these universes.
yeah,
It's in the
death
marooning. So
is a possibility. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. So therefore, you must come up with the name of your character who's going to be participating in the Choose Your Own Adventure story. Do we have any ideas, any inspiration that we could throw out there to start the brainstorming process?
I mean, I already got mine locked in.
oh,
I've
Okay.
been, I've really been thinking about Club Penguin recently, and this
Yeah,
takes
of
me
course.
back to my very first Club Penguin character was named Gobdon after my paternal grandfather, who's named Gordon. So I think I'm gonna be going with Gobdon for my.
so
for
was
my
it just
character
the
here.
name Gordon, but you subbed out an R for a B?
Yeah, well, because I'm Brando. You gotta,
So
put my
Gobdon.
touch in there somewhere.
Okay, well, you all have to be Gobdon because you.
Oh,
only
is it
have one-
collective?
You're not choosing your own adventure
Oh, I didn't know-
individually.
I didn't know it
mean,
was
you could each-
collective. Okay,
You
that's my
could, you
proposal.
could each have a run at the story if you
Yes.
want. It's the same
How about
story.
Gobdon is his first name and Brandon
Yes.
chooses the last name?
Which
And
is
Mike,
crazy
you choose
'cause
the middle name.
I too was gonna go with Gobdon.
That's so weird.
I do think that it's easier if we just do Gobdon. Gobdon is great. Do you think, Brando, are you the only person that's ever named your Club Penguin avatar after your grandfather? Do you think-
Probably. Yeah.
you
I
know-
was like 4 or 5,
Yeah,
I
listen.
believe.
That's great. Long may he reign. Yeah,
I'm just obsessed with like I'm gonna give it my own little touch, and it's not gonna be Borden. It's gonna be I'm smack in the middle, Gobdon.
Yes, Gobdon.
Yeah, it's more menacing, Gobdon.
Okay, so do you want to give Gobdon a last name, or is Gobdon's last name just Gobdon? So it's Gobdon, Gobdon, and then Mike, do you want to give a middle name for Gobdon, Gobdon?
Gobdon.
Gobdon,
Okay.
Gobdon.
Oh,
Anytime.
Gobdon. That's impossible to say.
We're not the host, Leon. That's not on
Yeah,
us.
the
What
twist
have you
is
done
if you
to
say
me?
his name 3 times, he finds an idol.
Oh my gosh. All I can say is I'm so happy that we're using pronouns for the majority of this. So I can just say you and I don't have to continue to say Gobdon. But I do
his
appreciate
full legal name.
well, that's what I mean. Well, I guess, if Jeff calls you by your first name or your last name, Gobdon is covered because it's going to be Gobdon regardless. So that's good. I'm glad that we figured that out.
Has Jeff
Okay.
ever middle named anybody?
Oh, that's a good
What a
question. 'Cause I'm
choice.
pretty sure there's got to be at least one Survivor contestant that went by their middle name.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not a Jeff choice because I think what Brando is suggesting, or at least this is how I'm interpreting Brando's suggestion, is last naming someone is a compliment to Jeff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Okay.
Like a
Or compliment.
Mariano. Yeah, or
Yes.
a Cochran. Yeah,
Exactly. It's a last name's a compliment. So then neutral is first name. Insult is middle name.
Oh, I like that.
Where
No, I think insult is full name, like you're in trouble with your parents.
Well, that's
Yeah.
I think first and middle is that's you did something wrong.
first middle.
That's-
Okay. Yes. Well, we did I think it was Annika who used Samuel.
Yes.
Full
Mhm.
Samuel. That's also, you're in trouble.
Government named, yeah.
Government named. Exactly.
Government names.
Okay, so is there any other backstory you want to add about Gobdon? They are a Club Penguin character.
Is this
inspired-
person Liana playing Survivor? Are they in the
Yes.
game?
You're
Okay.
playing Survivor.
Okay.
So as
Wait, so what does Gobdon times 3 do?
exactly
Like, what's his
their
job?
profession?
Brando, what did your grandfather?
Like Zamboni driver, maybe something,
Okay.
snow related, which isn't going to fare well on, the beaches of Fiji.
People always clamor for the winter season, and Gobdon thought that that's what this is.
As a
Like,
Zamboni
Gobdon came
driver.
in the full parka.
Gobdon was doing the summit. He did the
Yeah,
application.
he actually
process
came on
and stuff.
Survivor thinking it was the summit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, talk about tearaway pants. That would be perfect.
And then Brando, how is your grandfather? Is he with us?
Yes. I thought you were going to ask if he's white, which he's also white. Yes.
and that was my next question.
Which you could probably guess from Gordon.
How old is he?
I couldn't tell you. Late 80s, I believe.
That's what I would like him to be. This is Gabdon in this
Okay.
simulation, I think.
We have a man.
Late 80s.
There's like Ernest Shackelford, this like
An
full
83-year-old
parka, like it's discovering Antarctica.
Yeah. And I wanted, we don't know specificity how old he is, but he's saying late 80s and he won't tell anybody the exact number.
Yeah.
He's just late 80s. He
Okay.
could be 90. We don't know.
God willing. All right. So we have, yes, the approximately 87-year-old Zamboni driver.
But he says he's
Gabdon.
45.
He says he's 45. Yes. Well, Kyle will fall for it. It's fine. We'll be embarking on this season of Survivor. Okay. I think we're ready to start our journey. Mike, I've shared with you the screen, so let's get this started. Okay. I will read to you, for those of you who are listening to the audio. If you're watching the video, there's a little web-based interface that we're going to play with, but the choices are yours to make, Gabdon. So welcome to Survivor 47. You are one of the newest castaways this season. It's been a rough few days so far, but you're still in the game. As Jeff always says, this is why you never give up on Survivor. You wake to the light of the sunrise and the noise of some light bickering. Tensions have been high between Sam and Annika over shelter duties. You can either intervene or stay out of it. What do you choose? So this is up to the three of you. You can either choose, this is obviously Gabdon's decision, but Gabdon can either intervene to try to mediate between Sam and Annika to maintain peace, or stay out of it, focus on your own game and build relationships elsewhere. What would Gabdon do as a
WWGGG.
late 80s Zamboni driver? What would Gabdon do?
I feel like a late 80s Zamboni driver is going to be off doing his own thing, surely, right? For better or for worse.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's trying to clock into work. He's trying to find that Zamboni. I just wonder though, like, are we on this tribe? Are we a new person on this tribe? Are Sam, Sierra, and Andy also with us, or we don't get to know that?
It's like the circle where they brought someone new in.
Yeah, Gabdon's just like always been there, you know?
Sure, yeah.
Gabdon is an enigma.
He's an institution.
He's an institution. He just exists on Survivor. Okay.
I do like the building relationships elsewhere. But I do also like the idea of this 80-something-year-old man trying to mediate and not knowing what the fight is about and trying to just gesticulate on what he thinks it's about. I think that's interesting to me, but I do think for the longevity of Gabdon's game, I do think probably focusing on your own thing makes the most sense. Swoop in at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Swoop in and figure it out right an hour before tribal.
Right. Reveal that you're not 45 years old at final tribal council.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll 3 for 3. Let's stay out of it.
Okay, so we're going to stay out of it. No way, Jose. That's obviously what Gabdon would sound like. I'm staying out of this, you think to yourself. Instead, you wander down the path towards the water well to look for shelter supplies. You see Andy in the distance. He's been having a tough time fitting in, and you sense an opportunity.
There we go.
What do you choose? Do you offer to help Andy, offer him support, build an alliance with him, or ignore Andy? He's at the bottom. That does me no good. I should keep exploring the jungle.
I mean, look, late 80s, Zamboni driver is probably giving a lot of unsolicited advice, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
So I
Okay.
could see a world where we're helping Andy. I don't know what everyone else thinks.
I do think if we wanted to speed run getting voted out, we just ignore everybody on the drive.
Just keep walking.
Keep on walking.
I know.
We're gonna-
I think that, look, this man is used to driving by himself. Perhaps it's time he pick up a bit of a co-pilot. I think
Oh.
Andy could be the lifeline, or he could be the lifeline to Andy in this time of need.
Okay. You're choosing, or sorry, Gabdon is choosing to help Andy. Hey, Andy, you call out. How you feeling, bud?
Wow, Liana, you nailed the tone of this. You didn't even know that this
Thank
would be an
you.
octogenarian, but really,
Thank you.
you've got
I
it
know.
down.
Well, it's because he's putting on his 45-year-old voice. So I'm just trying to do the best 45-year-old impression that I can do. You know what I mean? Okay. Andy takes a deep breath and begins to pour his heart out, sharing his feelings and anxieties about this grueling experience. It seems he's really opening up to you, revealing vulnerabilities you never knew he had. You comfort him, assuring him that everything will be all right. But as he looks into your eyes, a shadow crosses his face. Mark my words, he says ominously. I will never forget this. The weight of his words hangs in the air, leaving an unsettling feeling that something profound is about to unfold. Okay, sounds good, buddy, you reply, and head off into the jungle, feeling somewhat rattled. You don't have a choice here. You just have to go further into the trees.
Gobson made it 87 years of life, and he's about to get killed by Andy.
I know.
in the jungle.
I don't know what. Andy's going to come at him with his gesticulating saw and cut off his head.
If only Sabaya had left. If only John Lovett had left with the machete, then maybe we wouldn't be in such predicament.
He's going to try to saw wrong first. And
Yeah, exactly. You're going to feel a nice dull blade on the back of your neck at night.
Am I getting a haircut?
Speaking of, has anyone mentioned Brandon Donlon's new haircut yet? Looks fantastic.
Oh
Can
my
we get a little
God.
spin? Can we
So
get a spin
good.
for the... Wow, look at that.
Woo!
Look at that.
Thank you.
Wow. Back to Gobdon. We're going to go further into the trees. You decide to go further into the trees when you spot a suspicious looking log on the ground. As you approach, the log seems oddly out of place. Curiosity piqued, you kneel down and inspect it more closely. There's a small latch on the side that looks like it hasn't been touched in ages.
Oh, I know he's a 7-year-old man would know that feeling.
with a mix of excitement and... Oh no.
Oh no.
Poor Gobdon. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, I mean, you reach for the latch and pull it open. In an instant, the log erupts in a shower of bright red paint. The vibrant color splatters everywhere across your clothes, your face, and even the surrounding trees. You gasp in shock as the paint drips down, pooling around you like a crimson puddle. Before you can do anything about the mess, you hear someone coming down through the path. What should you do? Play dead or run and grab a chicken are your two options.
Okay, so the two choices are you either pretend that you have been brutally injured or you pretend that you've murdered an animal.
You know, if you're 80-something years old, the early onset's probably already there. You can feign ignorance very easily and be like, I don't know how this got here either. I am intrigued by playing dead. I think playing dead. I'm curious of what happens when
Well,
you're
what I'm
playing
nervous
dead.
about here is if you get medevaced. Is
That's
if they
what I was
look at you and
thinking
think
too,
that
yeah.
you're dead.
Sure.
Yeah.
We've killed Liana also. For audio listeners, Liana is viciously choking on something.
I'm dying.
On water.
I should lay down.
For the audio listeners, Brandon keeps pointing at his hair every time he talks for some reason.
Guys, focus up. Focus up. Points at the hair.
I think, okay, I agree with the medevac of it all. Running
Yes.
and grabbing a chicken. Also, I can't imagine he's the fastest runner in the world, but I would go running.
We go for
I would
that,
say
yeah.
I would say grab. I think the chicken should be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to run and grab a chicken. Before you can do anything about the mess, a desperate idea strikes you. You sprint towards the chickens, grab one, and return to the paint-covered path. Just as Sierra and Rachel round the corner, you pretend to be in the midst of a clumsy slaughter. I'm so sorry, you shout, feigning distress. I was trying to get us some food, but it all went wrong. Sierra and Rachel stare in shock, their eyes darting between you, the frantic chicken, and the sea of red paint. What have you done? Rachel cries out, her voice a mix of horror and disbelief. The chicken, unharmed but thoroughly annoyed, flaps its wings, spreading more paint around. We need to trade them, Sierra yells. I can't deal with this anymore. Thankfully, before any more discussion can be had about the chicken situation, it's time to leave for the immunity challenge.
Wait, I'm very confused. So what did they assume happened to the chicken if it's just flapping around fancy free?
Well, they didn't think much of it.
I like
apparently.
the image of them rolling up to tribal council with this chicken that is just spattered in blood and severely maimed, asking if they can trade it for something else.
Yeah, the same reason you can't like wear something from Kohl's if you've bled in it. You can't really give back chicken that you've also kind of
Maybe
bled
it was
around.
something where it's like they could claim like, oh, we got covered in red paint. Oh, that should be a claim as well. Like, oh, I got covered by protesters. I was trying to kill the
PETA
chicken.
was out here.
Yeah,
That's
and then
what
PETA
happened.
covered me in paint.
Okay, yeah, we'll go with that. We'll ad-lib that in when we get to the immunity challenge. Okay. So you and your tribe enter the immunity challenge arena, prepared for whatever fresh hell Jeff has in store for you today. However, there's other business to attend to first. It's time to talk chicken. We want to trade our chickens for something better. We're thinking eggs. How about 24? Sam chimes in. He and Jeff go back and forth before Jeff makes a shocking offer. I'll give you the 24 eggs, but you need to give me the chickens and one of your own tribe mates to give to Lavo. You were talking about trading Saul earlier. Might have to trade somebody else here. Everyone's jaws drop to the floor. The general consensus seems to be to give away Andy, but maybe you should step forward. You have 3 options here. Gobdon can either suggest Andy. I mean, we were all thinking it. Volunteer. Maybe I should go myself, or reject the deal. Everyone is needed on Gada.
Oh, man.
Big decision here.
I have something, but I don't
Okay, go
want
ahead
to
now.
speak for the floor.
No, go for it.
I am interested. If this choose your adventure, we want to maximize meeting everybody, and somebody's going to go to Lavo. I do think it should be us.
I
Right?
completely agree.
agree.
That's exactly
I
what I was
agree.
thinking as well. Yeah.
Let's
do
go
it.
meet Rome.
Plus, like, listen, to be fair, this Gobdon at this point thinks Andy is going to murder him. And also, he got caught with a chicken covered in red paint. So, like, I think right now is the good time to cash out and leave the table and try something else.
I agree. All right, I think we volunteer.
Okay, so you're going to volunteer. Everyone looks around awkwardly, but most stares go to Andy. You hear Rachel take a breath and begin to speak, but you cut her off before she can suggest that Andy goes. I'll go to Lavo instead of Andy. The tribe stares at you in shock. Are you sure? Sam asks, concern etched on his face. Yes, you reply. I want to give him a chance to stay. You also think this could be an opportunity to form new alliances before the merge. I'll never forget what you did for me, Andy whispers in your ear as you walk over to Lavo.
No, there's a certain adverb in there, Liana, that you skipped over.
Sensually. Sorry, whispers sensually in your ear as you walk over to Lavo. The immunity challenge starts and Gada is moving really slowly on cutting the rope part of the challenge. Could Andy be throwing this challenge to protect you? Andy's early misstep causes Gada to lose, saving you from tribal council. As you leave the arena, you swear you saw a wink from Andy. Maybe saving him saved you after all.
Wow.
The end.
Yeah.
Okay, so it
Wow.
ends with, you not getting voted out.
You didn't get voted out. Yep.
That's a very happy ending.
Congratulations. Yes. So well done.
Gobdon.
We did.
Should we try another universe for Gobdon?
So we can go back if you want to change your decision here or we can restart at the beginning. Those are your options.
What do you guys think?
Ooh,
I mean, do you want to see him get messy? You
if
want to see him
we-
try to intervene in the Sam and Annika argument?
Yeah, let's see.
I would
where we
love
go.
to. Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
curious if we end up back here.
All right. Okay. So blah, 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 blah. Tensions have been high. What do you choose to do? Intervene.
Intervene.
Blah. Okay. So Gobdon. You decide to intervene in the conflict between Sam and Annika over shelter duties. As you approach them, you can see the tension in their body language. Hey guys, you say, trying to sound casual. I couldn't help it over here. Maybe I could help mediate the situation. Sam looks at you skeptically while Annika seems relieved that someone else has stepped in. How do you propose to solve this conflict? Do you either agree with Sam? I think our time would be better spent getting food. I agree with Annika. Let's quickly gather more bamboo to improve the shelter. Or screw this stupid shelter. Let's just burn it down.
I know what I'm voting for.
I think the fun option.
Yeah.
I think we all know what the fun option is here.
Okay, I'm gathering that the fun option, not gathering bamboo, but burning it down seems to
think
be
so.
the option
Absolutely.
that we're leaning towards. Okay, so we burn it down. Burn it down! Burn it down! You begin to chant. Before the rest of your tribe can stop you, you grab a burning piece of wood from the fire. Burn it down! Burn it down! You continue to chant. Your tribe mates, production, and the entire crew are in shock at your actions. Before they have time to react, you've tossed several burning logs into the shelter. The palm fronds are quickly set ablaze, which lights the rest of the shelter. You cheer loudly, jumping up and down in joy. Burn it down! You chant one more time before security takes you down into the sand.
Security?
You're disqualified. You're disqualified from the game and removed for erratic and dangerous behavior.
Wait, so are there like it's like the challenge, or there's just like a bunch of goons standing around ready to tackle you?
The YX laws for this episode would be crazy. I don't know how David's going to use this in the rules.
I just love the idea of this specifically being gobbed on, though. Like, the idea. The late
This
80s.
old.
Yeah.
Don't burn it down. I mean, where was Gobbed on January 6th? That's all I'm saying.
Oh my god.
You know where he was, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. Whew.
That
All
was
right.
good.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's what you did. So, if you're interested in doing anything else, you have your options.
Do you want to take Annika's side this time?
Let's take Annika.
Yeah, it's like, let's do her the service.
Mhm.
Okay, I agree with Annika. Let's quickly gather more bamboo to improve the shelter.
And
Okay,
you
so
burn it down.
so you propose gathering more supplies to help improve the shelter. Sam, annoyed by your suggestion, reluctantly agrees. I'll go down to the beach if you go into the jungle. You bound off into the jungle. Down the path towards the water well, you see Andy in the distance. Now, this is the same choice as before. Do you want to help Andy, or this time do you want to ignore Andy?
Screw him.
Who
Okay.
needs him?
Ignore Andy. He's at the bottom. That does me no good. Also, you're still thinking about the burning down the shelter. It's a lot of stuff. You don't have time to talk to Andy. So you ignore Andy and turn your focus back to the jungle. You know what? You think to yourself, screw supplies. There must be an idol somewhere out here. All you can hear is the sound of your own footsteps, crushing leaves and branches as your eyes dart around the trees and rocks. You don't see anything in your immediate vicinity. Perhaps you should explore elsewhere. So, do you go to the rock wall or go further into the trees?
I have a theory that if we go further into the trees, we're going to get Nickelodeon slimed again. So I think we go to the rock wall this
Go
time.
to the rock wall. I want Gabe's
Okay.
falling box to knock him out.
Okay, so let's go to the rock wall. You decide to go to the rock wall. When you arrive, you feel the energy of a hidden immunity idol calling out to you. You spot a narrow crevice in the rock wall. That must be it, you think to yourself, squeezing through the tight opening. Inside, the air is cool and still, illuminated by a faint glimmer at the far end. The idol, you think excitedly. Just as you reach for it, a deafening rumble echoes through the crevice. The ground shakes violently, and before you can react, rocks begin to tumble down around you. You dash towards the exit, but it's too late. A massive boulder crashes into place behind you, sealing you in. Trapped beneath the layers of stone, you realize that this will be your tomb. Maybe some treasures were never meant to be found.
Oh my
Wow.
Jesus.
You're
Christ.
something dark.
This poor old man.
It's so sad, especially because he's old. I mean, I've been sad either way, but I think this is the only death outcome. So,
Yeah, the other one just included you burning down, committing arson.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna help guide us a little bit. So
Sure.
we're gonna we're not gonna play dead because with the log getting Nickelodeon slimed, if you play dead, you do get medevaced.
Because they think that you're dead.
Yeah, and then essentially, so what I wrote was that as you're carefully lifted onto the stretcher, your social anxiety kicks into overdrive, forcing you to commit to the charade instead of coming clean. So anyway, you get medically evacuated. So okay, let's try to get to the. Okay, so you are going to. All right, so you're gonna go to the shelter. All right, so. You can either suggest Andy or reject the deal. So we're now back at Tribal Council where Jeff is asking if you would like to volunteer to trade somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to give you the option to either suggest Andy or you could reject the deal, which will get us into the second part of the story you missed.
Do we
for the
want to
volunteer.
channel our inner Dondi here and reject the deal?
Ooh,
Oh, no deal.
No
I knew where you were
deal.
going with that. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, reject the deal. Everyone is needed on Gata. Okay, no deal, Jeff Word, you say. This tribe
That sounds like some sort of swear.
I don't think you can say that on
Yeah.
a podcast.
Oh, that's why Saul says fart.
Yeah. This tribe sticks together through thick and thin. The rest of your tribe seems a bit annoyed with you over your brash decision, apart from Andy, who seems thankful for your support. Looks like it's not a unanimous decision, so no deal, Jeff says with the ferocity of Howie Mandel. A bit shaken, you proceed to the immunity challenge. Your tribe performs well throughout the physical portion of the challenge, with Annika, the ace puzzle wizard, sitting out. You are on puzzle duty.
Ooh.
Rachel hands you 2 puzzle pieces. Which one do you take?
Ooh,
Right hand
Morbius.
piece or her left hand? So the piece she's holding in her right hand or the piece she's holding in her left hand?
I am left-handed, and I think my impulse would be to do the opposite of what I want to do in a challenge. So I think that
Okay.
right might be.
I think that's the right decision.
Yeah, because she
Correct.
assuming she's right-handed, she
Mhm.
would hand the piece to you that she wants you to use. And I trust Rachel's judgment over the memory of a man that was born during World War II.
Okay. All right, so Gobdon takes the piece in the right hand. You reach for the piece in a right hand and try to fit
Oh
it
my
into the
god,
puzzle.
it's comprehensive.
Not working. What should you try next? Do you turn the piece to the right or do you turn the piece to the left? So 90 degrees to the right or 90 degrees to the left.
Do we stick to our guns? Do we go right again?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right was
Okay.
the wrong choice the first time. What are the odds it's the wrong choice twice in a row?
Exactly.
You turn the piece right. You turn the piece to the right, but it still doesn't
no.
fit. What do you do? Try it again. This time it has to work, or turn it upside down.
Turn it upside
Turn it
down.
upside down. Yeah, we don't want to try it again.
You turn the piece upside down, but it still doesn't fit. What's going
Oh,
on?
no.
Do you try it again, or do you try it on the other side of the puzzle?
Try
I
it
have a
again
hard
this
time
time?
believing again's gonna work.
Yeah.
Am I alone in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think
but it's
that's-
there for a reason, surely.
No, I think it's gonna be Liana being like, "What are you talking about? You just didn't fit it over here. Go to the other
Okay.
side of the puzzle."
Okay.
Yeah, I think other side.
Let's do the other side.
Okay, try it on the other side of the puzzle. You try it on the other side of the puzzle.
Oh, no.
Before you can even attempt to place the piece, the other 2 tribes finish their puzzle, sending
Oh.
Gata to tribal council. Maybe you should have volunteered to go to Lavo. Back on Gata Beach, things are in complete disarray. Your time is valuable. You really need to be cautious with how you spend it. Who should you speak with?
Uh-oh.
Andy or Sam? Those are your 2 options.
So I am intrigued. It seems like Andy, something's going on with him. Now, while this may result in homicide, I'm willing to roll the dice here.
Worst case, we leave with the showmance.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was very sensual.
Or
when he
dead.
whispered.
Yeah.
Or dead, one of the 2. Okay, so you're going to choose to speak with Andy. Andy, my man! You yell. Does that sound like your grandfather, Brando? I'm doing my best.
That's spot on.
Thank you. You yell from across the beach. "Wanna go get water at the well?" You cheekily exclaim. Andy agrees to go with you. Once you reach the water well, his eyes dart around looking for others. "I wanted to thank you for not letting me get traded to Lavo during the chicken negotiations," Andy whispers. "We need to figure out a way to save us both." You remember something. You have an idol. Thankfully, the blood paint doesn't invalidate it. You need to find a way to figure out where the votes are going tonight. You and Andy go on a fact-finding mission, weeding out all the false info, but will you make the right call tonight?
Oh,
Tribal council proceeds as normal, but you're not paying attention. There's so much pressure on your idol play.
who cares about Jeff Word?
Yeah, whatever. Who cares? It's time to vote, Jeff declares. You fiddle with the idol in your pocket, praying, hoping that you've made the right call. Before Jeff can even say anything, you shoot up. "I want to play this idol," you yell awkwardly. I can confirm this is a real immunity idol. Your eyes dart around the tribe. You or Andy, you or Andy. "I want to play this idol for Andy." Gasps erupt from the cast and crew. Was
The
that
crew? Wait, that's very unprofessional. Man.
the security? They're there. Jeff reads the votes. Andy does not count. Andy does not count. Andy does not count. Sierra. The 5th person voted out of Survivor is Sierra. A wave of relief washes over you. You and Andy are both safe to live another day, but at what cost to your social relationships?
Was
The
this like
end.
the best ending besides
was
not going to
amazing.
tribal at all?
Yeah, this one was pretty good. There was another, let's see. If you talk to well, it kind of depends on whether or not you find the idol. If you have the idol, then that you almost always save yourself. If you talk to Sam, Sam also saves you. There's another situation where if you suggest Andy, then essentially you definitely get voted out. You also give an ultimatum to either Rachel or Annika. It becomes very complicated. And then there's one situation where we play the idol wrong. So yeah. That's sort of the main story.
That's
so
fantastic.
Congratulations, you guys survived. I'm really proud of Gobdon.
This is so funny. You should like do this publicly. People would love this, I feel like.
It's really fun to come. So the one piece I was really happy with that you guys actually managed to figure out really well was the puzzle piece. So there's an infinite recursion loop that you can get stuck into where you just can't get out of it. And so you just like keep trying to, so you just keep trying the puzzle pieces and you can't get out. So I'm really impressed that y'all managed to get out of that. So
oh my God, Liana, you killed it, much like you attempted to do with a chicken.
I know. And you only died like not in the real playthrough. So just the other one.
Yeah. Luckily, we avoided the incredibly dark, tragic ending of him being buried alive by a rock slide.
Under rocks. Yeah, exactly. And I'm a smart call with the not playing dead and getting medevaced.
Yeah.
That is what would have
I was playing dead. That's all these two. These two knew.
Well done, Gobdon. Gobdon.
Well done for you, Liana. You truly gave Gobdon a voice, quite literally, and made us realize that, you know what, maybe we should bring in 80-something-year-old Zamboni drivers into the game.
Where are they? They're applying. I know they're applying. They play that commercial every episode.
Exactly. We know they're out there. Come on, Jeff.
Come on, Jesse.
Yeah. I mean, last time he reached out to moms. I think this time he's like, if you're an 80-year-old Zamboni driver sitting next to you on the couch, shake him and say, hey, apply to be on Survivor.
I love the idea of Jeff. You know how, so advertising is obviously changing. We're getting a lot of very specific targeted ads. So I kind of like this idea of Jeff also doing very targeted ads specifically to appeal to the octogenarian Zamboni drivers. This is going to come across.
This will play when you're on like the tablet at the doctor, you know, when you're checking in, this is when they blast that as you're getting the dialysis.
Cannot skip this ad.
Yeah.
Like the bingo TV, like in between rounds.
Yeah.
They'll play like when you score a strike in bowling. Like it's the animation's Jeff popping up. Apply to be on Survivor.
Apply to be on Survivor.
Oh my goodness. Well, last but certainly not least, we are handing the spotlight over to these two gentlemen, and we're being extra charitable with the charity this time around. You're each going to give a charity or cause to highlight for the audience. Brando, as the newer blood, we'll start with you. What charity do you want to highlight?
I'm going to go with the ALS Association. I feel like ALS is a very important cause to the Survivor community and also just in general. And so that's why that's my pick.
All right. Sounds good. What about you, Brandon?
I'm going to go with the Give Kids the World charity. There's the Over the Edge weekend that's happening in December. A lot of Survivor, Big Brother, Amazing Race folks are going to it. I will not be in attendance, but I was in attendance many, many years before I was ever on Survivor. They throw a beautiful event, and all the money from that goes to the Give Kids the World charity. So check out the charity event. Even better yet, if you're in the Florida area, if you want to fly to it, go to the event. All the money will go towards them. And if you just want to support from your couch, just Google Give Kids the World, and you can find all the information there.
All right. Two fantastic charities from two fantastic guys. This was amazing. Call it a double day, call it a quadruple B, whatever you want to. I could not think of a better way to finish off my favorite pre-merge of the new era so far. Any final thoughts as we go around the horn and do some plugs? Brandon, let's start with you.
Ooh, I have nothing really. I mean, you can follow me, Brandon Donlon. I do want to hype. If you go on the RHAP Has the Podcast Instagram within the next couple of days, you will see. I don't know if you remember if you're watching this, but from the Chicago show, I had a bowl, made people on stage read things on stage, or bring up words, random words, in conversation. We did that again. Rob didn't know about it, and nobody's caught on that we did it. Nobody asked me about it. It was really weaved in well. So this week, we're editing the video now. You'll see what we did on stage that a couple people pulled out of a hat, or really out of we had the Dondi briefcase, which is a fun detail. So people pulled things out of the Dondi briefcase and read them aloud on stage, weaved them in so good that you didn't even notice it. So you'll see that this week.
All right.
So cool.
That is amazing. Brando, what would you like to plug? Because you are out and about on these internet streets.
I mean, other than giving, one more shout out to Brandon Donlon's new fantastic haircut. I'd like to plug my Twitch channel. I've been doing a lot of fun stuff, Pokemon, Survivor, baking over on twitch.tv/Brando Meyer. So come say hi. We have a good time over there.
How often do you stream?
Well, I try to do every Saturday, but it's pretty sporadic right now. So turn on my notifications and you'll never miss a stream.
Perfect. Liana? What do you got to plug?
You can follow me on Twitter at Liana RHAP. And I'm also doing the Masked Singer coverage. That's going strong. So Puya and I are going to be talked about the premiere of Group B. So all new people. That was really, really fun. So even if you're not a big Masked Singer fan, we highly recommend come hang out with us for a bit.
All right. Of course, you can follow me at a Mike Bloom type. Check out my conversation with Annika, which was a lot of fun as we were both kind of recuperating from the glow of the live show. I was still glowing to get to talk with her about everything that happened in her game, and then doing my usual stuff for scripted TV. And I got to do a bunch of stuff for the Big Brother finale as well. If you're still catching up on that, plenty of stuff happening in the reality TV community as spooky season officially begins. And I'll be a little scared next week because Liana will be unfortunately not available to come on to the B&B, but we have quite the treat for you, not a trick. I'll be joined by another motley duo, and considering that the individual portion of the game, we're dealing with a lot of free agents, it only makes sense that we bring on the two co-hosts of the Free Agent podcast. That is Matt Ligori and Brian Scally. Very excited. I don't think either one of them have ever been on the B&B, so should be a fun way for them to make their debut as we break down whatever the hell is coming next, whether it's regular Mergatory as we know it, whether it's something new. Either way, it's sure to be messy given the loving timbre of this cast, and I cannot wait to get into it. Of course, thank you to everybody who came out to the live show as well. It is always such an incredible experience, and especially those of you that had some very kind words to say about the B&B as well. It really does mean the world, truly, to have your support going on for over 10 seasons now at this point. We wouldn't be able to do it without all of you listening to us just absolutely play proverbial cornhole for an hour and a half every week. And we'll do it all again next week. Special shout out to everyone at the team behind the scenes at RHAP for packaging this podcast for your eyes and ears, and Will from America for his fantastic theme song. I will be back next week with Matt and Scally to break down the next phase of Survivor 47. Until next time, everybody, we'll check you out at your next stay. Long live Gobdon.